And we are live. It's the Revved Up 906 podcast, a Detroit Pistons podcast to be exact. And I'm Hudson.
And I'm Ryan.
And before we get into tonight's recap of the Detroit Pistons versus the New York Knicks, you guys know the deal. I have a few things to talk to you about. This Saturday, Grind Clothing Co. is dropping a brand new merch drop for us, Revved Up 906. And to give you a hint, the whole theme is a quote that I say very, very often. So make sure to get ready for our new merch drop and follow us on Instagram. Follow Grind Clothing Co. on Instagram so you can be the first to get a look at this week's and this season's merch drop. So tune in, get ready. Also, we will have some stocking stuffer ideas and stuff for you guys to buy for fellow Detroit Pistons fans, your family, whatever you want. Add it to your Christmas list. So stocking stuffer stuff like stickers and a few other things are coming out very, very soon. So stay out on the lookout. So make sure to click the link in our YouTube bio or in the video description below. And that link will shoot you right to Grind Clothing Co.'s website, where you will get to look at a plethora of different designs that features your favorite Detroit Pistons podcast, Revved Up 906. Get ready. I'm very excited. I can't wait to be sporting the new merch. This was actually inspired by the brain of Ryan Young, my fellow co-host. It came from the very designer brain of his. So shout out to Ryan for creating some awesome merch. I'm excited for you guys to get a look at it. Also, before we get into tonight's recap, I want to make sure that you guys like and subscribe. This week's episode, we talk about Troy Weaver and whether he should be on the hot seat. So if you haven't watched it, go check it out, go like it, go comment. We would love to know your guys' thoughts. Also, there's a lot going on with the Pistons right now. We're going to talk about tonight's game, but as we talk, if you have any thoughts, any comments, make sure to comment below. We would love to know what you guys have to say. And if you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe so that you are in the know with all the Detroit Pistons content and everything that's going on. We keep you updated, so make sure to keep tuning in. Without further ado, let's get into tonight's recap of the Detroit Pistons versus the New York Knicks. Tonight's final score was 118-112 in the New York Knicks' favor. The Pistons have been sliding as of recent, but tonight showed a little bit of an energy that they haven't had in the previous games, and a lot of guys played some standout basketball, and we're going to talk about each and every Detroit Piston that kind of showed out tonight. But I kind of want to talk about Cade Cunningham first, because in this losing streak, he's one of the guys where the points per game hasn't been weary. He's still getting his 20 points, but the efficiency has fallen short. But tonight against the New York Knicks, we saw the Cade that we know and love, and he got 31 points, 2 rebounds, 8 assists, 12 of 20 from the field, and 4 of 9 from the three-point line, which is so crucial to see that good three-pointing efficiency in 37 minutes. Ryan, did you like what you saw from Cade tonight?
Oh, I loved it. He definitely played more of an off-ball guard role tonight, in which we saw, due in part, Monty switching up the lineup, having Killian out there, having Isaiah Livers starting over Asar Thompson, which is pretty bold, but I like it.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I love Asar Thompson, but sometimes you need to make changes like this in order to have winning basketball happen. And his lineup change helped Cade, helped Killian, helped everybody out there tonight. And it was very refreshing to see, because usually when you're a first-year coach and then you have a top-tier talented player in Asar Thompson get drafted, you have a situation in which you kind of just got to start him and stick with that rotation and see it through. But because of the lineup flip-flop this game tonight, we saw Cade just explode. With Killian out there, it opens up the floor. It opens up the lanes in which you can move the ball. There's a lot more ball movement when Killian is out there with Cade than there is with just Cade. And that's not a knock on Asar Thompson. That's not a knock on Jaden Ivey. That's not a knock on any of the other guys. It's the fact of the matter. When Killian is out there with Cade, good things happen in the ball movement department. And this tonight is evident in the sense Cade had 31 points. He was very efficient no matter when he touched the ball or didn't touch the ball. You knew no matter what, Killian was going to get the ball to him and good things were going to happen. And that's what we saw tonight.
Well, and in years past, when Killian is the primary ball handler, when he gets pressure, he can't handle it. But when he's on the court with Cade and has that ball handling assistance, Killian can kind of really be within himself and be a facilitator. And he's proving that's when he's at his best.
Yeah, you look at what Killian did tonight, 28 minutes, 23 points, 10 of 13 from the field, 2 of 3 from 3, 1 of 4 at the line, 3 boards, 4 assists, 1 steal and a block. Like, you can't get better than that out of Killian Hayes. He balled out tonight, and it's very good to see because the last couple of nights out there, he hadn't been getting the starting nod, and so he'd be coming off the bench in rotations in which it's not beneficial to him, it's beneficial to everyone else. And so he normally wouldn't get a shot up, or he would look to pass right away rather than take his own shot. But with him being in the lineup in which you have Cade out there, you have Livers out there, and you have everybody else out there, it allows the pressure to come off him. And that allows him to play more freely and be himself. And that's when I would like to say that's when you see winning basketball happen. And that's what we saw all the way through until the fourth quarter late tonight.
Yeah, and we know Killian can put up 23 points on any given night. What stands out to me is that 10 of 13 shooting from the field. I mean, he put on a masterclass offensive showcase tonight. And against very solid point guards at the starting level and coming off the bench with Jalen Brunson, who's playing at an elite level right now. And then Emmanuel Quickly, that has had made himself a good career while in his time in New York. It's impressive to me because the New York Knicks are very guard heavy. Even Dante DiVincenzo, Josh Hart, these are very solid defensive players. And the fact that Killian was able to get within himself, and you know what? He didn't force any shots. He let the game come to him. And that's one thing that we've been talking a lot about in these Revved Up recaps is the Pistons seem to be forcing the offense. But tonight against the New York Knicks, the Pistons took what the defense gave them, and Killian did a great job of not forcing up shots, going 10 of 13 from the field. This is a great confidence boost for Killian Hayes. And I think that confidence is something that he struggles with. And hopefully this is the start. And maybe they'll keep this rotation. Killian will keep getting these starter minutes because this might be a turnaround for Killian Hayes.
Yeah, I really hope it is because in what we've seen from him early on this season, getting those starting nods, in those starts, he was playing great. And then coming off the bench, you saw him more so focus on getting the ball moved around rather than focusing on his own game. And not that it didn't hurt the team, but it didn't help the team either. Because we need Killian Hayes to be productive on offense too, outside of just passing the ball. Because if he's very, very good in the mid-range, he's one of the best mid-range shooters on our team. And his fadeaways, my goodness, they're very clean. He gets it right off, and it's just beautiful to watch. But Killian needs to, I would love to see him in the starting rotation going forward. And I know a lot of you will go like, Ryan, you're stupid. Like, I don't like Killian Hayes. He shouldn't be out there. He shouldn't be on the roster. I don't care because we saw what he did tonight. 23 points, very efficient, only missed 3 shots. Like, you can't get better than that. And then from a defensive side of the ball, like, he played great. His defense, we all know his defense is great. And everybody's one knock on him is he can't score. He's not good on offense. But this is clear and evident tonight that he is good on offense, given the opportunity.
Yeah, and it's showing that he's capable of this. And we've seen it during stretches of last season. I believe it was the month of maybe March, or no, it was the month of December last season, where it was like he was averaging 23 points and 9 assists. He was playing very well. For me, I think it's consistency for Killian, okay? But with him alongside Cade, it makes both of their jobs and duties a little bit lighter, and they help each other out. I see Killian being able to consistently put up these type of stats, maybe not 20 every night, but averaging close to double-digit assists when he's alongside Cade, because they just seem to complement each other well. We also see Cade and Jaden play well together, so I just think it speaks more to the greatness of Cade and how he can kind of play with anybody. But I'm very impressed with Killian Hayes' play tonight. There's a couple negatives in tonight's game. I mean, obviously the Pistons weren't able to pull it off, but I want to talk talk a little bit more about some positives tonight before we start talking about like the little intricacies of why the Pistons lost. But another positive was Marcus Sasser. I talked about it before the season started. Ryan, you knew I was going to bring it here. I talked about it. I said Marcus Sasser might be one of these guys that shocks the world, and he stunned the New York Knicks tonight with 17 points, 4 assists, 6-11 from the field, and I love it, 5 of 7 from the three-point line in 19 minutes. Very efficient play for Marcus Sasser. And once again, another one of our young guards playing very well against a guard-heavy team in the New York Knicks. Marcus Sasser is a guy that's just an absolute scorcher of an offensive three-point threat. He kind of reminds me of like a Brandon Jennings, like when he used to like have these great offensive stretches throughout a season. But Ryan, what are some of your first thoughts on Marcus Sasser's play tonight?
Honestly, if it wasn't for Sasser, we wouldn't have been in this game the way we were, at least
fair.
in the late stretches. Because we saw first quarter, we struggled bad. We started out hot, and then the Knicks went on a 13-2 run to finish out the first quarter, and that one was rough for us in general, because usually when other opposing teams go on stretches against us, bad things happen. But then we saw Monty bring in Sasser right away in the second quarter, and it changed. He just lit it up from three, lit it up on the whole offensive side of the ball and defensive. And then we saw that continue on in the third quarter and the fourth quarter with Sasser. He couldn't miss. I mean, obviously he did miss shots, but in the perspective of like, he was hot and it was evident. There's not much more you can ask out of a guy like him, who was taken very late in the first round, which usually those picks are on two-way deals right now. They're not like for sure players in the NBA on a full-on contract, but Marcus Sasser is one of the select few. And like tonight is a reason why. He's one of the better underrated guards in the league today. And the fact that, like, you look at the Knicks there, you had Julius Randle, you had Brunson, and then you had RJ Barrett as their big three in the point totals. In our point total in the big three, it was all of our guards. It was Killian Hayes, Cade Cunningham, and Marcus Sasser. That's speaking volumes. The fact that Sasser is even in the ballpark of being in the top 3 players scoring in this game tonight for us says a lot, because when you have Duren, who can get his own in the paint consistently, you have Stu, who can get his own consistently, and then even Livers had that 14-point night out last night. You have a lot of different scoring options on this Pistons team. And the fact that Sasser was the third one, it shows you how good he was playing tonight. And not only that, but like, the Knicks are actually a very sound defensive team. Because Tom Thibodeau is a defensive-minded head coach. He goes for defense over offense majority of the time. Like, I mean, it's evident. Look at Jalen Brunson. This is my knack on him, just in the sense that, yeah, he can get his own. Like, what did he have? 42 points tonight. That's a lot, but he also is more of a defensive player than offensive. And that's what the Knicks are known for the last couple of years, is being a defensive minded team. So the fact that you have a young guard in Sasser who's able to get his own against the likes of Brunson, Julius Randle, RJ Barrett, Dante DiVincenzo, like, and so many others, it's very impressive to see, and I'm very excited for the near future for Marcus Sasser.
Yeah, you mentioned Dante DiVincenzo. He's really the biggest X factor on why the New York Knicks were able to close out this game the way they did. He hit those, I believe it was back-to-back threes that were really daggers in the side when the Pistons pulled it within, 2-possession game. But really what shot the Pistons in the foot tonight was really the first quarter. They started out the game 17-31, really kind of set themselves back. And then you mentioned it earlier, Marcus Sasser had a great second quarter. He had 12 points in the second quarter. The Pistons were able to have a 13-0 run. But then the Pistons wouldn't even have the lead till the second half, midway through the third quarter. This Pistons team has found the resiliency that they had at points last season, because we did almost all the recaps all season long. We talked each and every game last season, and the Pistons didn't have a whole lot of blown out games, like where they just totally got destroyed. Some of the games were very close. They were competitive, just wasn't able to turn the corner and take that lead. That was tonight. The Knicks just showed how savvy they were, and they showed why they are like a solid playoff team. That's really what it comes down to.
Yeah, and then also like every single player on that roster is a vet. They're not all rookies. They're not very young. Like you go down the list, Randall is in his 30s. Mitchell Robinson is late 20s. Jalen Brunson, late 20s. RJ Barrett is in the middle of the pack. He's probably one of the youngest players on their roster. But you really look at their team, and it's not a young team. It's a very experienced team. And that's what Tom Thibodeau historically has loved, is experienced guys. And so it makes sense that even when times got tough for the Knicks, they were able to pull through, because these guys have been there, they've done that, they know how to go put their head down and go to work and get the job done. And that's really one of the main reasons why we lost this game, is just the experience level that the Knicks have compared to us. Now, if you had taken this in the perspective of, let's say this was the Houston Rockets and they were a little bit younger, and one of the many other younger teams in the league, I'm sure we would have probably have won this game tonight. And I'm going to say that for a fact, because the Knicks, just being as experienced as they are, they just know how to get the job done. And when they, and then also, I will point this out, one of the big factors in our loss tonight is in that late fourth quarter stretch, we went cold from shooting the ball. We weren't hitting our shots, and then our defense kind of gave up a little bit, and that was the big X factor right there alone. If we were getting those shots dropping, like this game would have gone immediately down to the wire, and it would have been a 50-50 toss up on whether we win or lose this game. But the fact that the Knicks have that much experience is one of the big factors we lose this game tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely see that. One thing when looking at the box score that kind of makes me laugh is the Pistons had 20 turnovers tonight to the New York Knicks 11. The fact that the Pistons were able to have that many turnovers and keep it as close as they did it's actually like impressive. Like, I don't know how they keep games so close yet have 20 turnovers like that to the Knicks 11, like nearly half. Like that's just crazy to me. That'll continue to impress me every time we look at the box score.
Yeah, but not only turnovers, like we had 25 fouls, there's 17. We out fouled and we out turnovered. We had more turnovers rather than the Knicks did, and yet we lost by 6. Like, how does that happen?
Right. Yeah. Like, how do you make a comeback? How do you make a huge comeback to take the lead in the third quarter, and you're like having that many, fouls and turnovers? It just shocks me all the time. But also tonight against the Knicks, the Pistons ended the 4 quarters shooting 53% from the field. I don't know if they've shot over 50% in this losing streak to finish 4 quarters. I would have to look back at the stats, but the fact that you're just barely losing a game and you shot over 50%, and the Knicks just below 50%, it shows that the Pistons didn't play bad. They played basketball that's capable of winning tonight. Just the Knicks had our number, and they have some scorchers on the offensive end.
Yeah, and like Julius Randle went hot late. Brunson hit a couple daggers for them. Like Dante DiVincenzo alone wasn't really a factor up until the fourth quarter. RJ Barrett had some tough plays there in the fourth. Hartenstein had solid defense. Josh Hart had solid defense. Like you can't knock on any player rather for the Knicks tonight on the way they played, because they just played great basketball. And there was not messing up on their end. It was just straight, like hard nosed, like we're going to get the job done no matter what. But we did scare them a little bit going into that fourth quarter stretch there.
Absolutely.
And that to me, even though we did lose tonight, it's something to put your hat on. The fact that we've been embarrassed, 15 games in a row, essentially. Well, I wouldn't even say 15. I know this is a 16-game losing streak now, but like the loss to Miami, I wouldn't say that's like embarrassing. We held our own. We almost won that game. There's been a couple close games here in this losing streak that we could have won but didn't. And it
Mhm.
wasn't up until the last couple games where we've pretty much been blown out. So
Right.
that's something to put your hat on. But the fact that we lost to a good playoff caliber team in the New York Knicks, and just the fact of a back-to-back game in which we
Yeah.
played last night, I'm sure all those guys were gassed. We did not have a great game. And then we come out here tonight and then we take it all the way down to the very end against the New York Knicks, who are a playoff caliber team. That speaks volumes of how resilient this young team is. I know we've been bashing them so much lately, but it's very easy to look at the positives now more than ever. And this was a very big positive for me.
One of the last things I want to mention before we wrap up tonight's recap, I'm not calling for worry. I'm not calling for anything. I just want to make mention of it when documenting and reviewing the Pistons. Jaden Ivey, 12 minutes tonight, 5 points, 2 rebounds, 1 of 2 from the field, 1 of 1 from the 3-point line. We want to keep an eye on Jaden Ivey, kind of want to see how he's progressing in his sophomore season. Luckily that, Killian Hayes played well enough. Some of our guards on the team, Marcus Sasser off the bench, was kind of able to fill in his scoring role tonight. He's he hasn't really been progressing up lately in this losing streak. I don't blame him for the losing streak, but definitely throughout these last couple weeks, he hasn't really been like a factor. So let's keep an eye on Jaden Ivey, kind of watch his body language a little bit and just kind of see how this progresses and how Monty Williams kind of addresses his minutes and what that might look like.
Yeah, to me, it's he needs to stop fouling. He's putting himself in the positions in which he's going to foul no matter what, and the opposing player is going to get the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
And that's what bugs me is he's not playing bad, but once you start fouling, you're not going to get the minutes. You're not going to get these opportunities to put up a shot or at least make an impact on this team. And if he just stops limiting as many fouls as he has been getting, I really think he'll have a positive impact because we saw last year when he did not foul, he had great games. He had 20-point games. We had 25-point games. Like he was consistently getting into the double-digit scoring department when not fouling. And if he can just keep on doing what he did last year into this year and limit the fouls, I really think it goes a long way. And not only his game, but the overall success of the team.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not something that like I said, I'm a Jaden Ivey guy. He's my guy. But it's something that I want to keep an eye on. I want the fans to keep an eye on just because it's like we want to see him start turning a corner a little bit, start playing a little bit better each and every night. I don't expect him to be a world beater, but he should be getting around that 15 points a night. That's kind of what I expect of him, and that's going easy on him. Really, he could be a 20-point guy a night if he just turns that corner. So keep an eye on Jaden Ivey and just kind of watch his play a little bit and watch the statistics. That will do it for tonight's recap of the Detroit Pistons versus the New York Knicks. Tonight's final score was 118 to 112 in the New York Knicks' favor. Before we wrap up tonight's recap, I want to make sure to remind you guys to like and subscribe. Also, the hats that me and Ryan wore in tonight's recap, the polo I'm wearing, is available to buy. Some designs very similar at grindclothingco.com. So click the link in our YouTube description, because if you want to look like us, swipe it up. Got to be swaggy like your boys. Also, we will be in Detroit March 15th through the 19th, I believe. It's 2 back-to-back games against the Miami Heat for the Detroit Pistons. So I don't know if you guys care. I don't know if you guys want to meet us. I don't know anything. But if you do want to see us, or also just get ready for some fun content, March 15th through the 19th, we're going to be in Detroit live and in the flesh, getting pregame videos and then also recaps from the hotel and all kinds of fun content. So make sure to get ready for that. Also, follow us on Instagram, post clips on there almost every single day. So get ready, watch out for it all. Make sure to be liking and commenting And we will see you guys in the next recap. Peace.